One of the questions that I get asked most as a habits coach and as a productivity coach is, how can I be more productive? So today I'm sharing with you my 3 top tips for what you can do to be more productive. These are, if I could only have 3 things, these are the 3 things that I would do to be productive. So what are those 3 things that'll help you be more productive? Well, number one is to make sure that you start every day with a written plan. That means a written plan, not in my head, not I think, a written plan. And it helps if you have a journal or a planner of some kind where you're writing down what it is that you need to do. Now, before we actually start writing, something else that I really need to say around what goes in your journal is the fact that not all tasks and not all activities are created equally. So what I used to do was to start my day with a written plan, but I'd literally just be listing anything and everything in no particular order. And what I've learned is being efficient is not the same as being effective. Let's pause on that for a second. Being efficient is not the same as being effective. So I hear a lot of people say, well, how can I get more done in a day? And that's actually the wrong question. The right question is, how can I get the most important things done? And so that's where it starts with, is prioritizing, looking at the things that you need to get done and figuring out which ones are the ones that will move you forward towards your goals. Which ones, as they say, are the needle movers. So once you've figured that out, and I'm going to guess you've already done the step before this of setting your goals, setting your priorities, and all of that good stuff, what you need is a planner of some sort, somewhere where every day you're going to start your day with, as I do in here, writing down what is it that I'm going to be working on for the day. What are the top 3 things that will effectively define success for me in this day? And then what are some of the other activities that I can get done today or that are important for me to get done? And prioritizing all of those. Now, this is my current favorite planner. This is the Full Focus Planner from Michael Hyatt's company. But there are so many, and I have tried. If there is a planner out there, I have tried it. This is the Self planner that I've used. I've used the Boss Babe 90-day planner. I've used the 5-second journal. I've used the 90X planner. I've used the Phoenix planner. I've used good old just a pretty journal and writing it down. This is the Panda planner. See, I have so many, they're falling on the floor. And this is Brendan Burchard's high performance planner. Here's what I'll say. The best planner is the one you'll actually use. So different people like different things. And that's why, as you can see from the array of planners that I have, there's so many out there. So it's about you finding the planner that works best for you. What do you like in terms of layout and format? Do you want a coil bound? Do you want a bound? Like all of the things. What size? But if there's one thing to remember, it is write it down. Start every single day with a written plan. So that's my tip number 1 for how to be more productive, is start every day with a written plan, but not just a written plan, a prioritized written plan. So what's my tip number 2 for being productive? Well, my tip number 2 is something that I got at Amazon for, I think, $10. It's this little guy. And for me, I bought this little guy because I love to use something that's called the Pomodoro Technique. You can Google it and find out exactly how it works. There's lots of information out there. But at its simplest, the Pomodoro Technique says that you should be taking regular breaks throughout your workday because your brain can only focus for so long. And so the way it's written is you do effectively time blocks of work. So 25 minutes of work. You set a timer, work for 25 minutes. When the timer goes off, you take a 5-minute break and you do 4 of those. And at the end of the 4th one, you take a longer break. Why does this work for me? Well, here's the thing. Before, I just used to work until I was exhausted. And it led to me dreading work because there was no end in sight and I wasn't good about taking breaks. And when I learned about the Pomodoro technique and started using it, I realized that number one, it did help me be more focused because I knew that all I had to do was to focus for 25 minutes. And at the end of that, I was guaranteed a break where I can do whatever I want. And so that was really helpful to me. And the number two reason that I choose to use a little timer like this, so I see it comes up with the time, my 25 minutes and the buzzer goes off, is when I first started using the Pomodoro technique, I was using my phone as my timer. Here's why. You see, when the timer goes off at the end of the 25 minutes, when I was using my phone, then I'd always be tempted to go on to social media or check my email. And then 5-minute break would become 35, would become an hour and a half, and I would lose track of time. And so what I try and do is when I'm using these time blocks is to put my phone in another room. I don't even have it in the same room. So really focusing for 25 minutes and then taking a 5-minute break. And as I said, doing 4 of those at the end of the 4th one, you get a longer break. And it really helps because, as I said before, your concentration starts to wane. You start to lose focus after about 25 minutes. So it's great to be able to, after 25 minutes of work, get up, walk around, take a break, go to the bathroom, get some coffee, whatever the case may be. But it's great to know that you have something to look forward to at the end of the 25 minutes. So that's my tip number 2 for how you can be super productive in a day, is to use a timer to time block your work so that you make sure that you are taking breaks, but also you make sure that you're setting aside focus time to focus on whatever the task is at hand. My tip number 3 for how you can be super productive in a day might surprise you because it's not a tool as such. It's not a gadget. It's good old-fashioned water. What, you say? How can water make me be more productive? Well, here's what I read. So Jim Quick is one of the foremost people in the industry when it comes to brain and how to make your brain work and giving you hacks and tips and tricks for you to be able to remember more, work faster, all of the things related to your brain. And I read in his book, Limitless, where he said that your brain is 75 to 80% water. What? Yes. So he says that your brain is 75 to 80% water. And so one of the best things that you can do for your brain is to keep it hydrated. He actually he has a list of 10 superfoods, super things for your brain, and water is one of the 10. Because what he says is that dehydration leads to brain fog, it leads to fatigue, it leads to slower reaction and slower thinking. And so as you're working throughout the day, making sure that you're staying hydrated will actually help you be more productive. So those are my 3 top tips for how you can be more productive in a day. So to summarize and to recap, number 1, start with a written plan every day. And even better, if you can find a journal that works great for you, where you can make sure you have a prioritized list for every single day. Number 2, when it comes to being more productive, is a timer. Setting a time to really focus on your work. Setting aside all other distractions, put that phone away in another room ideally. It allows you to focus, but having a timer also means that you'll get a break at the end of that time period that you set aside. And number 3, drink up water. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you found those tips useful. Let me know how they work out for you and look out for more episodes coming up with me sharing information on how you can build better habits to be more productive and to have an extraordinary life. I'm Sandra Chuma. Thanks so much for joining me.